Hi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. This is Amy from With Love by Amy, and today we are going to be using Pinkfresh Studios stamp set and the coordinating dies and also the stencils. This is something that I have not really delved into before. I've never really used the coordinating dies and the stamps and the stencils for anything. I think this is actually the first set I've purchased for myself in this, like using the whole shebang of it. I do kind of want to get the hot foil plate for this one. However, I do want to get better at hot foil before I purchase a lot more hot foil plates, because right now it frustrates me. I don't get good coverage. That's another video for another day, is me messing around with hot foil. But yeah, so first off, I'm going to be stamping, and I did condition the stamp. That's what I'm using my eraser there for, my $100 bill eraser. And because of the fact that I'm going to be inking these up, we are using the Gina K Jet Black Amalgam ink there. And we're inking the stamp up really well. Just because it's a new stamp, I know it's going to take several stampings and several inkings on the stamp. I'm going to use my stamp tool to evenly distribute the ink, and it's pretty good for a first try, but I want it to be darker, and so I'm going to stamp it again and pressing it down evenly, as I always do. I was not aware when I ordered this stamp and die set that the stamps for the half butterfly and the full butterfly were attached together, which is pretty cool because then you can die cut them out together. I could have positioned the stamps so that I only stamped one of them if I only wanted to do one of them. But at this point in the process, I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to do. So, yeah. And I was just kind of playing around here to see how they line up because I was not 100% familiar. Like I said, I've never used stamps and dies or like layering stencils like this before. So I'm going to break out my Dollar Tree adhesive mat and try to use this for the stencils, see how it works, because I am not really sure what else. I could have used pixie spray, I suppose, but I thought I would try this since it's new-ish to me and it's been sitting in my stash, like looking at me basically, because I haven't used it. So here's stencil 1. There are 5 stencils in the set, so yes, they are very nicely labeled on the one corner. It says which layer it is. So I did just go along with the numbers. Like I started off with the biggest one first, which said number 1. And I like butterflies a lot. I really do. However, I'm not a person who's like super obsessed with like their colors and stuff to know what looks realistic. All right, so here we are. We're starting over because I didn't let the ink dry. So we're going to do this part first. And yeah, I like to keep my boo-boos in there to, basically to keep it real with people. Because no crafter is 100% making these cards turn out like they do without some boo-boos along the way. So yeah, we're going to do the ink blending part first and then stamp over the top of it because that hopefully will work better. All right, so here's stencil number 2. And yes, as soon as I was done doing all this, I did run these to the sink and wash them off because we do not want this to dry up and look gross, because nobody's a fan of that. I like that they're sort of see-through so you can see where you're lining stuff up at. And I cannot remember the colors of the Distress Oxide that I used here. You'd think I would write this stuff down as I'm doing it, but I didn't. So honestly, if I did it again, I'd probably choose, and I tried to like replicate these same butterflies, I'd probably just pick different colors because I just kind of picked pinky-ish sort of colors that I felt like looked good together. And that's what we're using. We're just going with it. I did kind of think about it after I was doing this one. I was like, I kind of wanted to make it look like a monarch butterfly. But, yeah, this is what we did instead. So we're going with the pinky-ish sort of colors because I wanted this one to look kind of elegant as opposed to realistic. And I thought that the pinky-ish colors would look more, I don't know, more elegant. Are butterflies elegant? Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, this one's a struggle for me to line up. I don't know why. Maybe as the pieces get smaller, I just want to make sure they're in the right spot. But yeah, the sticky mat, I will say, it did a good job of holding the stencils in place. But as you can tell when I'm like rubbing the inks down, I do make sure that I still hold the stencil because I got trust issues. I don't want to mess this up. I've been working on it for too long at this point. Because of course this video is very sped up because otherwise you'd be sitting here for like 45 minutes watching me make butterflies. But they were cool. And I do like the way, I think this was orange marmalade. I do like the way that the orange like layered on top of the pinks that I had already done. I kind of thought about it. I was like, maybe I could make like just a pink butterfly. Like do all of it with just like varying degrees of the same pink, like different intensity levels of the same pink. And then this is where the wings, like I thought maybe like the body and stuff should be brown. I didn't know what else color to make the body. Is that what color it should be? Brown? I don't know. It looked good to me. All right, and then there we go. That looks pretty awesome. And at this point, I could have just die cut it out like that without all the lines and stuff. But we're going to finish doing the rest of the stenciling and doing the stamping on top of it because I wanted to play with all the pieces here. So yeah. And let's think. What do we think this is? Is it worn lipstick maybe? Looks like it could be worn lipstick. The screen is really tiny when I'm doing this editing, so it's hard for me to like read the labels on the Distress Oxides. Yeah. And I filmed this video quite a while ago, so my recollection is off because I've been filming a lot lately. Ooh, I'm loving this though. This is looking pretty. All right, and then the pieces keep getting smaller and smaller. I wish, and like for this particular type of thing, I wish that I had smaller brushes for stenciling, or whatever they're called, blending brushes. There we go, blending brushes. Because a smaller blending brush would help you get into the small spaces easier. But I don't have any smaller ones yet, so I guess that's going on the wish list. But this one is Squeezed Lemonade, I think, this color. So yeah. I will say, figuring out what background to do with these butterflies once I was done, that was a struggle. Like, I seriously filmed like the rest of this, and then I was like, oh my gosh, okay, there. So when you do this, you want to make sure that you pull the sticky mat away from the card base, not pull the card base away from the sticky mat, if that makes sense. Because I've heard that you could tear your card base if you do it the other way. I did not even try it the other way because I didn't want to risk tearing these butterflies that I just spent all that time ink blending. And then the piece of clear acetate that came with the sticky mat, you want to make sure you put that back on it because otherwise it will stick to everything in your craft room and it'll lose its good stickiness. So you always want to make sure you cover it back up. And I actually kept like the packaging acetate that it came in so I can slide it in and out of there if I don't get it 100% like on the other acetate correctly. And I decided at this point that I was going to emboss the butterfly stamp onto there. I didn't like how it looked with black ink, so I was going to emboss it. And I'm using my Cottontail embossing tool. I don't know what the heck it is. Embossing powder tool to make sure that there is no static left on there. And we are going to use Versamark ink on the stamp. And yes, I did make sure that it was lined up appropriately before I did all this. Because that would stink if it was not in the right spot. All right, and then we're going to use the stamping tool to press it down evenly to get the embossing ink all over it. And then we are going to use, I think this is here, maybe it's Hero, I don't know, Ranger Princess something or other embossing powder. I don't know, it's gold, I know that. Yeah, it's gold. And it's like for fine detail type of stuff, so I like this one the best because it's not as chunky as the other gold I have. And it's kind of like a more delicate look when you emboss with it. It's got good coverage. And yes, I like it. All right, so that's what it looks like after it got under the heat gun. I think it's amazing. And then there it is, die cut out. And like I said, I didn't know at this point, like still what I was going to do for a background. Was I going to use just the one butterfly or the other one? And then what you don't see here is I actually cut a second layer of this out, the butterflies, because I did not like how there was, you know, I flipped the paper over and you could see the other butterflies that I didn't use on the back of it. So this is me figuring out what I was going to use for our card panel behind these butterflies. I embossed that. That's a die cut panel that I actually embossed using an embossing mat. There's my sandwich I used with my Big Shot. That thing you see on top is kind of, it's like a mouse pad thing that I got as marketing material. So it's really thin because I just don't have one of those embossing mats for the Big Shot yet. I totally need to get one. Okay, there you go. The die is from Impression Obsession, and it doesn't cut out around the edge. So you basically, like, as long as you center it evenly in the panel that you want, you're going to have a nice border around there. So I liked how the butterfly looked. And these I bought from Scrapbook Forever in Branson. They were totally like a checkout, you know, impulse buy thing, but I think they're so pretty. And I could not resist. And we're just going to glue them down on here. And the sentiment is also from the butterfly stamp set. The Embrace the Moment, or Embrace This Moment stamp sentiment is also from the stamp set. So I did really good here, making sure that all the things I used, except for the background die, because I don't have any background dies from Pinkfresh yet. So, yeah. Everything except for the background die that I just basically did texture with, everything was from Pinkfresh. Super excited. I think it turned out really elegant, and it honestly surpassed my expectations because I was just like, oh, these butterflies will be cool, but yes. Oh my goodness, look at this. Let me know down in the comments what you think. I really appreciate it when you like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Thank you so much for watching, and here are some other videos that you may enjoy. Come back soon. I can't wait to see you. Have a great day. Bye.